Hello everybody. Today we will talk about Czech Republic in brief. Flag. The national flag consists of a white stripe over a red stripe, with a blue triangle extending from hoist to midpoint. Capital, Prague. Location, size, and extent. The Czech Republic is a strategically located landlocked country in Eastern Europe. It sits astride some of the oldest and most significant land routes in Europe. Comparatively, the Czech Republic is slightly smaller than the state of South Carolina, with a total area of 78,866 square kilometers, 30,450 square miles. It shares boundaries with Poland on the NE, Slovakia on the SHE, Austria on the S, and Germany on the W and NW, and has a total boundary length of 1,881 kilometers, 1,169 miles. The capital city of the Czech Republic, Prague, is located in the north-central part of the country. Topography. The topography of the Czech Republic consists of two main regions. Bohemia in the west is comprised of rolling plains, hills, and plateaus surrounded by low mountains. Moravia in the east is very hilly. The country's highest point is Mount Snezka at 1,602 meters, 5,256 feet in the Krkonoš Mountains along the north-central border with Poland. The Elbe River is the nation's longest, with a distance of 1,165 kilometers, 724 miles, located in the northwest. It runs north into Germany. Population. The population of Czech Republic in 2005 was estimated by the United Nations (UN) at 10,212,000, which placed it at number 78 in population among the 193 nations of the world. In 2005, approximately 14% of the population was over 65 years of age, with another 15% of the population under 15 years of age. There were 95 males for every 100 females in the country. According to the UN, the annual population rate of change for 2005 to 10 was expected to be -0.1%, a rate the government viewed as too low. The country has one of the lowest fertility rates in the world. The projected population for the year 2025 was 10,217,000. The population density was 129 per square kilometer, 335 per square miles, with the most densely populated areas in North Bohemia, Central Bohemia, and in Moravia. The UN estimated that 77% of the population lived in urban areas in 2005, and that urban areas were growing at an annual rate of 0.05%, essentially a standstill. The capital city, Prague, had a population of 1,170,000 in that year. Other major cities and their estimated populations include Brno, 400,000, Ostrava, 331,448, and Pilsen, 175,049. Ethnic groups. Between 1945 and 1948, the deportation of the Sudeten Germans altered the ethnic structure of the Czech lands. Since the late 1940s, most of the remaining Germans have either assimilated or emigrated to the West. In 2001, Czechs constituted 90.4% of the total population, Moravians accounted for 3.7%, and Slovaks made up 1.9%. Other ethnic groups include Germans, Roma, and Poles. Languages. Czech, which belongs to the Slavic language group, is the major and official language. There are numerous dialects. Many older Czechs speak German, many younger people speak Russian and English. Slovak is also spoken. History. In the 19th century, the Czech lands became the industrial powerhouse of the monarchy and were subsequently the core of the Republic of Czechoslovakia, which was formed in 1918 following the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire after World War I. Czechoslovakia remained the only democracy in this part of Europe in the interwar period. However, the Czech part of Czechoslovakia was occupied by Germany in World War II, while the Slovak region became the Czech Republic. Czechoslovakia was liberated in 1945 by the armies of the Soviet Union and the United States. Most of the 3 million of the German-speaking minority were expelled following the war. The Communist Party of Czechoslovakia won the 1946 elections, and after the 1948 coup d'état, Czechoslovakia became a one-party communist state under Soviet influence. Czechoslovakia remained occupied until the 1989 Velvet Revolution, when the communist regime collapsed and market economy was reintroduced. On 1 January 1993, Czechoslovakia peacefully dissolved, with its constituent states becoming the independent states of the Czech Republic and Slovakia. The Czech Republic joined NATO in 1999 and the EU in 2004. The head of the executive branch is the president, who is elected by parliament for a 5-year term, and may serve 2 terms successively. The President is the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces and has the power to veto bills passed by Parliament under certain conditions. Local government. The Czech Republic is divided into 6,000 municipalities for local administration, 13 self-governing regions, popularly elected for a 4-year period of office, and the capital city of Prague, with a mayor and city council elected for 4-year terms. Under communist rule, Czechoslovakia's government was so centralized that little to no local government existed. Such institutions have become more common since the formation of the 1992 Constitution and democratic rule. Judicial system. Under the 1992 Constitution, the judiciary has been completely reorganized to provide for a system of courts, which includes a Supreme Court, a Supreme Administrative Court, high, regional, and district courts, and a constitutional court. The Supreme Court, which is situated in Brno, is the highest appellate court and has national jurisdiction. The High Courts, with seats in Prague and Olomouc, represent the second instance in the judicial system. The district courts deal with proceedings in the first instance and are situated in the capital towns of the administrative districts. The 15-member Constitutional Court created in 1993 rules on the constitutionality of legislation. Constitutional Court judges are appointed by the President, subject to Senate approval, for 10-year terms. Military courts were abolished in 1993 and the functions transferred to the civil court system. The new judiciary is independent from the executive and legislative branches and appears to be impartial in its application of the law. Criminal defendants are entitled to fair and open public trials. They have the right to have counsel and enjoy a presumption of innocence. Armed forces. The Czech Republic had 22,272 active personnel in 2005. The Czech Republic provided support to NATO, UN and peacekeeping missions in 9 countries in Asia, Europe and Africa. Military spending in 2005 amounted to $2.19 billion. Czechoslovakia was a signatory to the Warsaw Pact of 14 May 1955, which provided for military cooperation with the USSR and other Soviet bloc countries and for a joint command with headquarters in Moscow. International cooperation. Czechoslovakia was a charter member of the United Nations, admitted on 24 October 1945. The Czech Republic became a member of the UN on 8 January 1993. It is part of the ECE and serves on several specialized agencies, such as the IFC, IMF, WHO, the World Bank, and UNESCO. The Czech Republic was admitted to NATO on 12 March 1999 and became a member of the European Union on 1 May 2004. It is also a member of the OECD, the OSCE, the Central European Initiative, the Council of Europe, and the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. The country is an observer in the OAS and an affiliate member of the Western European Union. Economy. Before World War II, Bohemia and Moravia were among the most agriculturally and industrially developed areas in Europe. In 1993, the Czech Republic emerged from 40 years of centralized economic planning in the communist era, including the more balanced economic development of the 1960s, with a more prosperous and less debt-ridden economy than most other post-communist countries. It enjoys an extensive industrial sector strong in both heavy and precision engineering, self-sufficiency in a variety of agricultural crops as well as an exportable surplus of meat, extensive timber resources, and adequate coal and lignite to supply two-thirds of its total energy needs. After recovering from a recession following the 1993 separation from Slovakia, the Republic enjoyed GDP growth of 4.8% in 1995. GDP growth of up to 5.5% was forecast for 1996 and 1997. Unemployment also stabilized at less than 3% through 1996. The annual rate of inflation dropped from 20% in 1993 to 9% in 1996. The thriving economy of the mid-1990s depended upon loans easily secured from state-owned banks to newly privatized companies that did not have effective managers. This method of fueling the economy collapsed in a 1997 currency crisis which caused the economy to go into a 3-year recession. Following this collapse, the government rescued and privatized the 4 largest banks in the Czech Republic, which stabilized the banking sector, now largely foreign-owned. The banks had begun to lend again by 2001. As of 2001, the country was receiving the highest level of foreign direct investment per capita in Central Europe, and 40% of industrial production was coming from foreign-owned companies. This high level of investment drove the value of the koruna up in 2001, which, coupled with a downturn in the global economy, put a damper on industry. The steel and engineering industries were struggling in the early 2000s, but growth in information technology and electronics diversified the economy. The telecommunications, energy, gas, and petrochemical sectors were due to be privatized by 2002. Severe flooding in Central Europe in August 2002 negatively impacted the Czech economy. The tourism sector was especially affected. The country was formally invited to join the EU in December 2002, and it will need to keep its budget deficit below the 3% of GDP mandated by the EU for entering into European Economic and Monetary Union. It was 5.3% in 2002. The deficit is balanced against the influx of revenue from privatization, however, which reached 11.3% of GDP in 2002. Accession to the EU was completed in 2004. The relatively slow pace of growth from 2001 and 2002 was replaced with moderately high growth rates of the GDP in 2003 and 2004 to 3.7% and 4.0% respectively. In 2005, the economy was expected to strengthen even further, with a real GDP growth of 4.3%. This moderate growth is the sign of a maturing economy that is trying to embed the market in a stable system. Inflation remained fairly stable, hovering around 3%. The unemployment rate fluctuated between 9% and 10%. The Czech Republic remains one of the strongest economies in Central and Eastern Europe. The main growth engines are exports, foreign and domestic investment, and tourism. The state-owned telecommunications company, Český Telecom, was to be privatized in 2005, which together with improvements in the financial sector and better management of EU funds was supposed to strengthen the economy on the short term. Car manufacturing. The Czech Republic is part of the so-called Detroit of Europe region, and tourism are 2 of the country's strongest industries.